Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I hope you're having a good day. I want to share with you out of 2 Corinthians today and a couple different places where Paul is talking. And the first one is in 2 Corinthians 7, and we're starting at about 9 or 10. So here Paul is talking about hard times and distress, and he says, "You let the distress bring you to God, not drive you from Him. The result was all gain, no loss." Distress that drives us to God does that. It turns us around. It gets us back in the way of salvation. We never regret that kind of pain. But those who let distress drive them away from God are full of regrets, end up on the deathbed of regrets. And now, isn't it wonderful all the ways in which this distress has goaded you closer to God? You're more alive, more concerned, more sensitive, more reverent, more human, more passionate, more responsible. When we're going through dark valleys, the valley of the shadow of death, difficult times, do we ever think that this is good, that this is making us a better person? I know I don't always. I just want the distress to go away. But he's saying, look, it makes us more alive, more concerned, more passionate, more reverent, more human. So don't despair when you have distress. Embrace it. He then goes on in 2 Corinthians 12, and we know that Paul had some sort of a handicap, an infirmity, something that distressed him, something that made his life difficult. And he talks also, though, about how, previous to these verses, he talks about how God had given him great revelations. He was able to have visions and see things that not everybody saw, that God allowed him to, and that he spoke in tongues, he communed with God, he had a deep, deep, rich spiritual life. But physically, he had some difficulties. He says, because of the extravagance of those revelations, and so I wouldn't get a big head, I was given the gift of a handicap to keep me in constant touch with my limitations. Satan's angel did his best to get me down. What he did, in fact, was push me to my knees. No danger then of walking around high and mighty. At first, I didn't think of it as a gift, and I begged God to remove it. 3 times I did that, and then he told me, "My grace is enough. It's all you need. My strength comes into its own in your weakness." Once I heard that, I was glad to let it happen. I quit focusing on the handicap and began appreciating the gift. It was a case of Christ's strength moving in on my weakness. Now I take limitations in stride and with good cheer. These limitations that cut me down to size, abuse, accidents, oppositions, bad breaks. I just let Christ take over, and so the weaker I get, the stronger I become. I don't know about you. I think we all have some limitations. I know I have some physical limitations that can really frustrate me and make me wish that I didn't have them, wish that they would go away, wish that I could do some of the things that I can't do. But I have to remember what Paul says, and that God gives us these limitations he says they're Satan's angels. He didn't say God gave him those limitations. He said Satan's angels pushed him to his knees where he could then look to God. So let's take our difficulties, our limitations, our handicaps, our struggles, our fears, and take all of them and put them before Jesus and let him have them and use them to work in us. We all have those issues, and we look at others and wish we had their life, and they look at ours and wish they had ours. And we all have the life God gave us, and he gave us and allowed us to have. I'm not going to say he gave us the struggles we have. He's allowed us to have the struggles we have so that we can draw closer to him. So do that this week. Love you guys. God bless.